the ethos of the classical sonata movement, with its journeys towards a positive goal, has been turned on its head. From now on, the music begins to develop with ever-increasing harmonic intricacy and emotional intensity. The textures become more impressive as well, the most richly figured yet in the piece, setting the music majestically on course for its climax. There's now a feeling of counterpoint and line growing out of the music's harmonic substance. We may be familiar with the surface melodies of this music, but there are some extraordinary things happening under that surface. Here are two of the lines inside the texture. They almost seem to belong to a harmonic world of 50 years later. It's a remarkable sound, but you can hear how those twisting lines generate the yearning and anxiety inside this lustrous texture. The fact that each singing line has its own little melodic inflections makes the orchestra vibrate with a new intensity. For a time now, the surging power of the music appears to brook no denial. It seems as if there's been a psychological breakthrough, and that the continual harmonic ambiguity and lack of stability is about to be transcended in a release of triumphant emotion. The winding bass part has at last reached E. Remember that the prelude began as if it was going to be in A minor. E is the keynote to establishing A, and as a great climax begins to build up over that note, we might think that at last the music is about to achieve emotional fulfillment. Longing and denial, both musically and psychologically, will be a thing of the past. The subtlety and full grandeur of Wagner's harmonic language is now revealing itself. His palette brightens to suggest something of spiritual transcendence. Soon, however, the trombones make their first appearance. Together with the woodwind and horns, they begin to tell another story. Emerging from the texture, they darken the harmony with recollections of the theme of desire unfulfilled from the opening bars. Fit together the feverish excitement of the string writing and the sombre brass statements of unfulfilled desire, and it's as if two emotional worlds are in collision. The strings at the forefront of the texture and the background harmony are being separated from each other, creating an emotional conflict at the centre of the music. It's becoming ominously clear that this magnificent symphonic argument is not going to achieve any conventional resolution. Approaching the climax and weighing down the string's almost desperate activity, the brass utter final, doom-laden statements of the prelude's opening bars. Here, Wagner increases the tension with a final turn of the screw. The pitch at which he does so is deeply significant. He capitalizes on the ambiguity of that famous Tristan chord. You'll remember how the chord could be construed as belonging to a number of different keys. At the beginning, of course, it suggested A minor. Now Wagner explains it in E-flat minor. In the tonal system, the distance between those two keys is as far as you can travel. The metaphor is clear. Tristan in Isolde's desperate love has travelled psychologically as far as is humanly possible. But it still cannot find fulfilment. The doom-laden harmony in the brass proves immutable. The ambiguity remains, and cadence is denied. Place all those harmonic and melodic elements together, and you have one of the mightiest climaxes in all music. A revelation of pre-Freudian psychology in which climactic achievement is merely an illusion. This is not just a literary or programmatic fancy. The thematic and harmonic workings tell us that we haven't reached fulfilment, no matter how much we want to. For in the bars immediately following the brass's overwhelming climax, implying E-flat minor, the orchestra returns pathetically to a suggestion of A minor, using that ambiguity of the Tristan chord, which can point in diametrically opposed directions at the same time. And so, in spite of the spiritual and erotic adventures, the striving and longing, we're back where we started. Through these revolutionary techniques, the Tristan prelude marks one of music's most extraordinary journeys.